A Titan of a Man, the story of Coach Paul Doc Hines by Paula Hines Lonergan. Copyright 2012. Chapter 3, Raising Dad, Part 4. Raising three rambunctious sons was not easy, especially in those tumultuous times. My grandparents, Isaiah and Lottie, were loving but also strict disciplinarians. They expected their boys to obey their instructions. However, my father didn't always listen. Near the site where my grandfather worked at the shipyard was a pier that was 70 feet high above the water. One day, my father and his friend decided to jump from the pier into the water below. My father had been told by my grandfather never to go to the pier, for it was very dangerous. So needless to say, when my grandfather saw my father jumping from the pier into the water, he later disciplined my father, no doubt to teach him a lesson and also to keep him safe. It wasn't because my father didn't know how to swim. Nevertheless, it was surprising that my father was not more fearful of water than he was. When he was a young lad, he and his friend Cuddy Freeman were swimming in the Elizabeth River near Indian River Road in Compostela. Cuddy was sitting on a rock and was swept away by the river's waves. My father ran to tell his mother. He said he was very scared. By the time they got back to the water, his friend Cuddy had drowned. This would be an experience he would never forget. It was as a Boy Scout that my father learned to swim. Another young man, about 3 years older than my father, named Aaron, taught my father. Aaron's father was the chief executive of the Boy Scouts. My father and his brothers were all Boy Scouts. They were in Boy Scout Troop 74. Of course, back then it was an all-black troop due to segregation. The Boy Scouts of America, BSA, is one of the largest youth organizations in the United States. It was started in 1910. Its goal is to train youth in responsible citizenship, character development, and self-reliance through participation in a wide range of outdoor activities and educational programs. However, my father's brother Leland couldn't learn to swim, which kept him from becoming an Eagle Scout. My uncle was involved with the Boy Scouts for a long time and became a Scoutmaster in Troop 101 years later. My father remembers that on one Boy Scout camping trip, he and his friend William Moose Freeman, Cuddy's younger brother, were asleep on their cots in the tent. At one point at night, Moose woke my father up and told him to carefully get out of bed because there was a snake in their tent. It was a water moccasin, which is a venomous snake found through most of the coastal plains, ranging as far north as Virginia. Though they are not aggressive, they will readily strike, and a bite from a water moccasin can be life-threatening. So my father and Moose very quickly left the tent to tell their camp leaders. The adults took care of the snake. They didn't kill the snake, they just caught it and let it go at a great distance away in the woods. Those were the few of experiences my father had growing up in Compostela. My grandparents did their best in raising their boys. In addition to taking care of their children, they faced other challenges beyond their control. One challenge came when Pearl Harbor was attacked on December 7, 1941. This was the day the Naval Aviation Forces of the Empire of Japan attacked the United States Pacific Fleet Center at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. My father was 4 years old at the time. This action later resulted in the United States becoming militarily involved in World War II. With this, the start of the war for the United States, nearly everyone was involved in war effort, or at least affected by it. This would include folks in the Norfolk, Virginia area, as the Norfolk Naval Shipyard was right in their backyard, so to speak. The state of Virginia sits along the Atlantic coast, extending for hundreds of miles. All of its shorelines needed protection in the war. Blackouts were common during those war years. There were many nights when my father and his family had to go without lights, using only kerosene lamps and candles for illumination. Life during wartime wasn't easy for the family, nor for anybody else. To be continued. Next section will be part 5. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can receive regular updates on my upcoming videos in the next few weeks. Thanks for your support. Once again, to be continued.